humanity has ever faced.
Yeah.
I mean, woo! Just reading history,
Hmm.
looking at the world. I mean, wow! You
Yeah.
Humanity could be so easily manipulated with this whole God concept. So
Hmm.
within the God concept gets introduced the concept of Satan or the devil.
Hmm.
So I know you're a man who is you're a researcher, you're a historian, you travel the world. So this is the perfect conversation to have with somebody like you. You didn't just read books, but you actually been to places where you've seen the stones and everything. So to start out with, Billy, what is the oldest recorded story of God and the oldest recorded story of the devil or of Satan that you have encountered in your
Hmm.
experience doing all this research, my brother?
That's a really intricate question because it goes deeper than just talking about God and Satan. When you go into the super ancient text, we're
Mm,
talking about now some of the oldest tablets that we know we have available that have been translated since the 1800s,
mm,
Assyrian and Babylonian tablets. These tablets are written in cuneiform, a specialized type of writing that's written into wet clay with a stylus. And once it
mm,
dries, it becomes stone. So we
mm,
know what we're reading is as close to the truth as we can possibly get. Is it 100% accurate? Anything that man touches, obviously, there's room for some manipulation. However, back then, writing in cuneiform was such a heavy task that there would be scribes, and people would dictate to scribes, and so they would write down what they were told to write, or what they saw, or what they had learned.
mm,
And so, what's interesting about this technique is so tedious. There wasn't a lot of room for just fanciful thinking and making things up. You kind of really want to get direct to the point. You know what I'm saying?
mhm, mhm,
Because it could take you, a month to write one story. It's very, very intricate. So, with that in mind, the oldest story that I get is when these beings, which have been recorded all around the world from all different cultures and civilizations, the Aboriginals, the people of Kemet, the Dogons, the people of Mesoamerica, the Mayans and the Aztecs, and I can just keep going. The people of China, Wang Di came down on a fiery dragon. Japan, I can just
mm,
keep going. They all have the same exact story, a story that beings came here from up there down to
mm,
this planet and then engaged them in some way, shape, or form. Now, where it gets interesting and intricate is these beings claimed to be God. They masqueraded as gods. And in the
mm,
region where they ruled over people, they were the people's God. Their people were told that I am the only one God. For example, Amun Ra, so also known as Marduk in the Jewish Torah and the modern day canonized Bible. He says, there'll be no other God but me. I'm a jealous God. So the people of that region said, oh man, this guy is the only one. This is the only one we can pray to. This is the only one we can give thanks to. And everyone was duplicating that in other regions of the planet. Now, what's interesting, and this is where it gets really crazy, these beings that were masquerading as gods on earth, walking amongst men and ruling over them, said this exact thing, that when the creator of all finds out what we've done here, we're going to have to pay for this.
mm,
And this is written in the tablets, in several different tablets, in several different time periods. So even they knew they weren't gods. They knew they were masquerading, and they knew that there was a creator above them, that there's a creator of all, they called it. They didn't call it a god, they said a creator of all. That means everything that exists. So they
mm.
understand that there's a creator, and they felt some type of guilt that they would be punished for what they had done on this.
So it's crazy. Even back then, though, people still believed in a higher source, though. You know what I mean?
So I look at it as this, right? It's because one thing that he said that I think was truly profound is that if man touch it, anything can be
Manipulated,
right.
exactly.
So, but what I look at is that from the perspective of, and I'm just going based off what we got so far, is that everyone will kind of write their own image of who God is. Everyone
Hmm.
simply looks at, okay, who is he? But my only counter is that there is a truth.
Exactly.
There's a concrete fundamental truth. Like through all the bullshit, something has to stand. And so in my thinking, whatever stands is what is true. You know what I mean? So that's And that's the thing. I feel like it shows through the fruits of life.
Yeah.
You know, through your production in life, or just in who you are. I believe that's the testimony to show, is God real or not, or is your God real or not? It's really through your treatment of people. Like, how do you individually treat a person?
Exactly.
I feel like for me, you can kind of at least align to someone's beliefs based off, is it selfish in manners? You know what I mean? Is it a lot of self?
Yeah.
Or is it giving? I mean, it's all about what you value.
Exactly.
It's all about what you value. Hold on, we gotta keep going, because I think he's about to
this planet to human beings.
here.
But before I press play,
yeah.
though, remember they said it was beings, right, that came here masquerading as gods. So they talking about some type of aliens or extraterrestrial. Now, if y'all don't believe that, after this video, I can go to CIA.gov and we can pull
Oh my God,
the documents.
See, but that's the thing,
to
though.
prove it. I mean, if that's
it's
what we
like,
do to make y'all believe it, that's what I'll do.
What I mean is that it's not just about things, semantics, things that we can touch and things that we can feel.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because these things die and these things deceive us every day. Shit, our own feelings deceive us every day. Like, 1 minute you feel hungry, 9 o'clock at night, you be like, nah, I ain't gonna eat. Like, your feelings deceive us. So I think anything that we can feel, anything that we can see, can always be deceived. I think it's about the walk, in my opinion.
Yeah, let's get into it, though. He's about to.
Pretty interesting. So when it gets into God and Satan, when it comes into what I call the modern day idiom, where we're now talking about what's inside of these New Age religious texts, and I do mean New Age. The Bible is New Age. The Bible was written from 100 AD to 900 AD. That's brand new compared to 8,000 old tablets, 36,000-year-old tablets. That's brand spanking new. That just arrived here, right? Yes. The Torah, maybe a little bit older than that. In some of these other texts, the Tibetan Book of the Dead and all these other texts, these texts are fairly new. Now, what's happening here? You look in into the Garden of Eden story, which is actually comes out of the Sumerian tablets, and it's in Mesopotamia, where there was an Eden, E-D-I-N. This Eden was an outdoor laboratory, according to the tablets, not according to Billy Carson. So don't say Billy is making stuff up. No, you go do what I did, research them. They're available online for free. Everyone can read them. UCLA, CDLI, Cuneiform Online Digital Library. It's free. You can go there and download all the tablets and read the translations for yourself. You don't need me. Now, so what's interesting is in these tablets, in the Eden, you had Adam and you had Eve, the two beings that were there. Now, first you had Adam. Adam was actually born through Isis. Now, so the reason why this happened is because there were already people on earth. As well as in the Bible, when you read the Old Testament the right way, you realize that there were people here, because after Cain got kicked out, he said the people out there are going to kill me. Well, what people out there? So clearly there were people out there that existed. In the Sumerian tablets, you discover that they had already began a genetic cloning of people on this planet from our own cousins that were already here, to make a slave race, because they got tired of doing the work themselves. They have been laboring on this planet for a long time, approximately 200,000 years. Hold on a second.
Take your time.
So approximately, I've been talking all day, but this is probably my 6th video that I've done today. So they were laboring on this planet, according to the tablets, for about 250,000 years on their own. No slave labor. They were doing this. That's in the Atrahasis epic, right? And the Enuma Elish as well. And then all of a sudden they said, we're tired of this work. Enki and Enlil, who were the kings of earth at the time, part of this race of beings that were masquerading, we're going to go to war against these guys and tell them, look, we're done. We're not doing this work anymore. So in the Atrahasis, they talk about actually leaving Mars, because they were working also even on Mars, creating a concurrent civilization. They came down. These are the sons of God, because they were all sons of Anu.
That nigga said they was on Mars.
Bro, that went over my head. My only question is that because I think what happens is that a lot of people say or a lot of people who don't believe in the Bible say that the Bible, even of itself, has truths within it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, how can you discredit something, but also use it as reference as well? It's like, because if you use the Bible as reference, you're validating it. You can't invalidate something and then validate it when you want to. Either it's all invalid or it's not.
Well, he's validating it, saying that they got it out of the Sumerian tablets. You know what I'm saying? He's not saying it was actual truth.
So
they took some of this from the Sumerian tablets, some from the other part, but
so from his outlook, based off
his
research,
yeah,
the Sumerian tablets is supposed to be the oldest tablets.
And the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of curation. It's a lot of different tablets. Like I said, you can go to UCLA, CLID.
So I'm assuming he's referencing that because he's saying that it's the oldest.
Yeah, exactly.
So the oldest meaning that what originated.
Exactly. And like you said, we don't even know if that's 100%. So all this shit really...
you
know what I'm saying?
Okay, so, but that's the thing.
But it's the closest we go get, he's saying. You know what I'm saying?
But it's, for me, when you get into these conversations, then it's like, all right, for what? What is the purpose? You know what I mean?
To find out what the actual truth is. That's the purpose. What is the truth? What does it actually mean?
I feel
you know what I'm saying?
I feel like you're ever searching. It's like almost a sinking foundation in a sense, because if you can't stand on it, like what's the whole purpose of it? Like, how can you then know where the hell you going?
Well, we're gonna see. Let's see.
We gotta find out.
Let's see.
Head of this pantheon of Sumerian Anunnaki came down. These are the sons of God, because they were all sons of Anu, the head of this pantheon of Sumerian Anunnaki. The sons of God fell down. They came from Mars down to Earth, and they were going to go to war against God. It was Anu, Enki, and Enlil. That 3, the Trinity. Right there in South Africa at Adam's Calendar. Well documented, and that site has been discovered as one of the first original gold mines, and it dates back to approximately when? 200,000 years ago, just like the tablets say. And so now we have a point here where this slave race they agree to do it. What they do is they agree to clone us, our cousins, and turn them into slaves, which they began to do, but they had a problem. The clones weren't living long. They couldn't reproduce on their own. Just like if you take a lion and a tiger and you get a tigon, right? Or a liger, they can't create more ligers or tigons. You have
Tigon.
Rewind. We gotta rewind like 30 seconds. Did he say clones?
Yeah. And when he's saying our cousins, he's talking about
our cousins in them?
No, he's talking about
who you talking about?
Hominoids. It's people,
okay,
but they're not Homo sapiens yet because they can't reproduce.
Hold on.
We have a point here where this slave race they agree to do it. What they do is they agree to clone us, our cousins, and turn them into slaves, which they began to do, but they had a problem. The clones weren't living long. They couldn't reproduce on their own. Just like if you take a lion and a tiger and you get a tigon, right? Or a lion.
You talking about how did they clone?
Yeah, and she's saying I took basically this group of people. I took a male from here, a female from here, and made they had sex. Is that what he means is cloning? Or he's talking about actually cloning the same individual?
That I don't know. I guess we both got to read the Sumerian tablets to find out and see if it's in there.
Because if he's using clone as a definition,
it's not far fetched, right? Because we know the technology we got now, they cloning people now.
No, bro.
We know that for a fact.
They're not cloning niggas now.
They cloning animals. You don't think they can clone people, bro?
I mean, no.
They just had a story about how they got in Disney Lab. They've been taking DNA from different Disney stars, and now they starting to clone people and make actual human beings, and they got fetuses and shit, and in the fucking fluid and like real people. Like this shit is here now. Like,
robots can be made. The reason why I don't believe in clones because I believe in spirits. I don't believe you can clone a spirit.
yeah, you could. It said
I don't think the body lives without a spirit.
you can transfer consciousness. And that's the spirit, right?
Bro, no.
You don't think you could transfer consciousness?
Okay, but
our ancestors say you can't.
So okay, think about it. Information is everything, right?
Yeah.
You think you really think that like somebody can hold this secret information forever and it be passed down and it don't get tossed around? Like
We had the information, but we know through fucking war and burning all this information from all the pyramids, like,
bro. Ain't no way. Because you gotta think about it. If they could clone back then, see, this is why it makes me question.
though the Atlanteans said he was able to transfer his consciousness, and basically he kept like the different shit that he was gonna transfer to. I don't know, it was a different human, like whatever they had underneath the Giza pyramid. And they just found it, like, I think this past year.
He transferred his consciousness.
Yeah,
Consciousness can't be seen. Can it be seen?
It's a stab. It's a device. I forgot. I can pull it up after this.
So it can be detected. It can be detected.
Yes, all this shit.
See, I don't think
we are only light in consciousness.
See,
and we are made out of atoms stacked on top of other atoms. But let's get back to the video. I'm gonna get into it. Turn this bitch to science class on y'all.
Liger, they can't mate and create more ligers or tigons. You have to get a tigon, right, or a liger. They can't mate and create more ligers or tigons. You have to. It doesn't work. That was the problem they ran into. They had strong, big people that can do a lot of work but couldn't reproduce, and it was a lot of work to keep making them. So what they did was this. ISIS says, I'm going to take one in my own womb. This is a famous cylinder scroll that's at the British Museum. She took an egg from an existing being, a hominid, our cousin, not Homo sapien yet, but similar to us, took the egg out of the womb. They added their essence to the egg, meaning they did a genetic modification, possibly taking out some of the genetic material and adding some of their genetic material, inserted it back into her own womb, and took the baby to term a full 10 months, not 9, according to the tablets, 10 months term, and gave birth to Adamu, which means first man. The translation of Adamu means first man. And so there's a famous cylinder scroll of her holding the baby up saying, my hands have made it. And that began the generations of ISIS. The generations of ISIS. Genesis. That's where Genesis came from. It's Genesis. That begins the generations. Now, fast forward into the future. We're in the garden, and Lil is also known as Yahweh. So he's masquerading as Yahweh in the Bible.
Hell no. Because all right, here's the reason why. Because in Genesis, like the very fundamentals of the Bible is the word.
Yeah.
Is words. That is words. That's very fundamental. So it says that the word was God. It basically what I'm saying is that everything is dependent on man's word, not on the words.
Yeah.
And what actually works. But when he says clone, bro, it's like, no, because here's the thing. There's always going to be an enemy. There's never going to be someone without some type of enemy, right? There's always going to be someone who opposes you. And because of that very fact, you're not going to be able to just hold information without other people being able to have access to that same information. That's impossible.
It's definitely not impossible. You got to think.
Bro,
you're thinking of the times of today. Like, nigga, how somebody in the whole other side of the world go know how we doing this over here? Y'all can't even live in our climate.
But I guarantee. All right, that's like this.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's like.
Why do you think they? I'm sorry to cut your wisdom.
No, go ahead.
Why do you think they scare us and not wanting to learn all this African spirituality and all this shit? They call the shit voodoos. By the voodoo shit came after the Haitian Revolution, and they want to make motherfuckers scared of the Haitians. And it started when they had zombie movies. It was Haitians and shit in the movie. They were like the Haitian. They had them niggas doing voodoo and shit, and that's how the propaganda and that shit in America started. Voodoo actually, they said, nigga, the Bible was created with using some of voodoo and all these different spiritualities. It wasn't just somebody made this shit up out of thin air. And there's no original idea. Somebody just hopped on the wavelength, and y'all both on that same wavelength. Y'all got the same download, whatever you want to call it, and y'all got the idea.
But here's the thing: there's been loads and massive people who've practiced voodoo, and the thing is that in practicality, basically in life journey, like the shit wasn't really working. They found the Bible. That's how it worked. It was like
if it wasn't for voodoo, we wouldn't be talking right now, bro.
I don't think so, because
I know so for a fact. You know
power.
that why?
There's power in prayer. You know what I mean? And so because of that,
and they prayed to their ancestors, and the ancestors told them to go kill them motherfuckers and get your freedom. What you talk about? You can look on Wikipedia right now. It even tell you the story of the Haitian Revolution when they were doing the voodoo ceremony and how a woman appeared out of the fucking folk. Nigga, it tell you that on Wikipedia, nigga. Even they couldn't lie about that shit. They were like, okay, we'll give y'all that one. Like, cause the shit, we know the truth. Like, that's how we won the war. We won through voodoo, through motherfucking spiritual practice, through poison, and motherfucker, nigga.
Through
like,
poison, but that's the
Malcolm
thing.
Dow, he was a a herbalist, and he used to put like different motherfucking herbs together. You could run up, you could blow it in their face and cause them motherfuckers to, go in shock, and he had all type of shit. And actually, when he died, he said, "I'm gonna come back as a mosquito."
Oh my god!
And kill y'all. And this nigga, no, he said I'm gonna come. He said basically I'm gonna come back as I'm gonna kill y'all. But like a week later, mosquitoes came and killed like thousands of fucking French soldiers and shit with malaria. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. And
I know what you're saying, but I just think about practicality in life, bro. Like, there's been plenty of times where someone like literally. Like, they've tried every fucking thing. They tried Buddhism. They tried everything. And then at their bare minimum, don't have nothing. The only one who cares about them is God himself. Opens up the Bible. Boom. Opportunity. Life is changed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's you got to think. What's the
same
most
thing is
published book
said
in
about
the world?
every religion and every spiritual system in the world,
bro.
though.
No, but the results aren't the same.
Yes, it is. You know,
what's the most published book in America or in the world right now?
How many people are Christians in the world?
I mean, that's hard to measure. You can't really give a number.
It is. It's on the census. You know that, right?
Yeah, but census is not accurate. You can't trust every census because they don't measure every number. If I become a Christian today, they can't measure that.
But with something like that, it's more so it's a lot easier than track just because.
Yeah, for sure.
You
could give a ballpark number, but you can't ever truly call it.
Right, you could just go by the church and members. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We know those are, for a fact, even if they not, or they just, exploring or whatever.
For sure.
But out of all them people, nigga, most of them is in poverty, nigga. I know that for a fact.
Here's also
what happened to them prayers.
But here's also too, and if I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, a lot of people that are successful are Christians, but they just be quiet because because for one, unfortunately, the Christian community judges each other like it's nobody's business. Yeah, we just judge every single little thing.
But it's more Muslim people that's successful than Christians just by per capita.
I'm not going to compare.
I'm just saying per capita because there's more Muslim people in the world.
What I'm saying is that
so that don't
I wouldn't discredit the body of Christ because of there's poverty there. Yeah, we're the ones who love them. Like, that's why. It's like, who else is there? Nobody else wants to.
And I guess the naysayers would say,
we just want to
not even the naysayers, but you gotta. To me, I don't care what you practice. You gotta You gotta do whatever resonate with you. You know what I'm saying?
True.
As long as it resonate with you and you feel like it's right for you, then it's not a problem. That's what I feel. But let's get back to the video.
True. We gotta get back to
Bible. Anywhere in the Bible where it's Yahweh, it's actually this guy in Lil. It came from. It's Genesis. That begins the generations. Now, fast forward into the future. We're in the garden, and Lil is also known as Yahweh. So he's masquerading as Yahweh in the Bible. Anywhere in the Bible where it's Yahweh, it's actually this guy Enlil, who's actually a pretty evil dude. He goes and comes a lot. He goes away. While he's gone, his brother, Ea Enki, who the earth is named after, goes into the garden and starts having empathy for the humans and starts telling them, look, you guys are just as powerful as us. You guys are just as incredible as us, maybe even more powerful than even we are. You have knowledge, you have wisdom, you're a sentient being. He starts feeding them. He starts giving them the apple. The apple is knowledge. Once they get this knowledge, they're like, oh man, what are we doing? We're running around like animals, man. Give me I want some clothes. Let me cover myself. So after some time of his teachings in the garden, a while later, this could be even months, maybe even a year, you know how long, this guy goes away and comes back. He comes back, Yahweh, and says, man, what's going on? You guys got some knowledge. So he gets pissed off at his brother because he found out his brother did that. He then begins to call his brother Satan. However, because of the way that he was treating the people in these experiments and the slaves and everything else, when you read the tablets, you'll understand he was killing people by the hundreds of thousands just because he felt like it if they got too noisy, according to the tablets. They were calling him Satan, but he detracted that from himself and pushed it off to his brother. No, this is the one that's been doing this to you. He's Satan. So the people of the old, the ancients, they used to call him.
Yeah, you obviously know you can't validate everything that he's saying when he said we were cloning people. We got to see the evidence, bro. We got to see the pure evidence of people being cloned. If he shows us
but you could say the same thing about the Bible, though. You got to see I want to see the evidence of Moses splitting the Red Sea. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it's a faith. That's why it's called a faith system. You got to have faith in what you think you believe. But I'm going off facts.
My only thing, because don't get me wrong, I'm 100% listening to him. I want to understand his perspective and what he's saying. But it has to have some type of valid foundation.
I mean, too, this is only a 15. He talked for a whole hour and a half. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
too.
Fair.
We're not going to get the full context of everything. And two, to understand what you even saying, you will have to read all them tablets. He just giving you the cliff notes, you know what I'm saying, type shit.
But that's the thing.
Yeah, like, I want to show my age.
If you mention, if you say cliff notes, but that's the thing though. Like when you're communicating about something, everything you have to say damn near has to be valid. Otherwise, it makes all your other points invalid. Like for example, when in court, right? All it takes is one witness to answer. He can answer 9 good questions, but if he answered 1 wrong, they might discredit that witness.
True. But
that's the same thing.
We was in court and you had evidence that was 6,000 years old, and I had evidence that was over 200,000 years old. Which one you gonna believe? Shit that happened. What happened first? The chicken or the egg? But that's all I'm saying.
But can it be deceived? Can the numbers be deceived as far as how old something actually is?
But you can say that about anything. Exactly. So that's my point. Either way.
And we can get back to this video. This is my last point.
Yeah,
I think this is how people figured out what's what and what works for them. They look at everything across the board, pick this up. Oh, this shit ain't working. This shit ain't working. This ain't working. And then, hold on, wait. This is actually working. Whatever works, I believe, is the truth.
But the shit that was working for us was taken and stolen. That was the whole point. Nigga, we don't even know what was working for us because they took the shit and made us do the fuck.
I feel like you can find it in your practice today.
And two,
because you have access to the information.
My thing is, it's just hard for me to fuck with something that 80 million people had to get killed for, so people to listen to. So
it's all about.
That's just me. But let's get back to the video.
Yeah.
Satan, the Lord of Eden. That was Enlil's actual name, aka Yahweh in the modern day. The ancients, they used to call him Satan, the Lord of Eden. That was Enlil's actual name, aka Yahweh in the modern day Bible. He then detracted it from himself and pushed it off on his brother after this Garden of Eden incident and said, look, no, he's the evil one. Don't talk to him, because he didn't want people to start talking to Enki, because Enki was telling people the truth. Like, we're equals. And he didn't like that. So him and his brother kind of went to battle with each other. All right. And this is all in the tablets. Everything I'm telling you is verifiable 100,000%. And we could sit here on a video one day and just go through tablet after tablet. If somebody want to spend 4 or 5 hours on here, we could do it. The tablets don't lie. And so now this is where you get God, who's Yahweh, and Lil, and now you get Satan, who's actually his brother, who actually is actually the good guy. So, you know, it becomes this weird dichotomy of the situation where we got somebody who's being called the dark guy.
You got confused. What happened was, right?
No, I heard him clearly. I heard him. He's basically saying that
his brother was actually the good guy that was telling everybody, like, you got the power, like, you just like me, we really not gods. Because they really wasn't gods, they were just different beings who had technology that was never seen, so they looked at them like they was God, even though they was regular motherfuckers. That's what that's what, you know what I'm saying?
Tough.
His brother was
That's
using
tough.
it against them, trying to say, they do this now, it's called cargo cults. They do the same shit now. But
go ahead.
His brother basically having them niggas worship that nigga, and he was a real Satan. They used to call that nigga. He was the evil nigga Satan, but his brother was so evil, nigga. He changed it up and made the people call him that. You know what I'm saying? The brother that, even though he wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
that's all he's saying. He's not saying like God is evil.
I know what he's saying. I clearly.
Well, it's not what he's saying. It's what the tablets.
Yeah, what he's saying. The tablets say. My only opposing opposition on that is that when you're using your words, like the Christian Bible is based off. In the beginning was the word, right? Boom, right? And now if you put above that this story happened that he's describing, it disintegrates the entire Bible. The Bible doesn't make sense.
And that's exactly why
the entire Bible doesn't make sense if this is true.
That's why they didn't want this information to come out. They got all this stuff in the Vatican's library. They got all this shit there too. They already know this. They just not gonna allow the masses. Well, now they did because it's on you. You can go. But people who don't like to read like that, people don't really want to know the knowledge, and people who are so indoctrinated, they don't really want to know if it's the truth or not. They don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Good.
So let's just say I'm deeply indoctrinated, right? Like I'm deeply indoctrinated, and so what he's saying is disintegrating. I'm telling you, it's disintegrating the entire Bible. Because it stands on the word in and of itself.
Right.
So once one word is faulty, the entire thing is faulty, right? So if what he's saying is true, you know what I mean? Why would he then use it to validate his points?
I haven't heard one point that he made to validate the.
Bro, he referenced the Bible.
He's not you getting confused because he referencing the places in the Bible, but that happened in the Sumerian tablet before the Bible. So you're not referencing the Bible, you're referencing the Sumerian tablets that the Bible got it from.
I don't know.
That's what you're not getting. That's not the Bible. That's the Sumerian tablet. If you read the tablet, that shit was wrote in.
But even
nigga, and also.
So you're saying that the Bible references the Sumerian tablets and not the Sumerian tablets reference the Bible is what you're saying.
Exactly. That's why he's saying that. And also he's getting knowledge from local people, local elder from people all over the world and gotten the stories of what you telling they all said the same shit. That's what he said at the beginning. It's not just that tablet, it's many tablets. So we're gonna get back to it. Let's go finish this.
Guy who's actually the light guy, and the guy who's the light guy is really the dark guy. And as human beings are so ignorant, we got the whole thing tossed upside down. And then thousands of years later, people start finding scriptures and cylinder scrolls in caves, right? This cave got these scriptures and these cylinder scrolls and some tablets, and we found this copy of these tablets over here. And they start piecing this stuff together to create what? The modern day Bible. But they didn't start finding these writings until the 1st century. Nobody sat around writing this Bible in real time. There was nobody running behind Moses. Hold on, Mr. Moses, say that one more time so I can get it just right. There was nobody doing that, dog. Nobody was doing that. Nobody. Jesus, stop. Jesus, hold on. You're speaking too fast, Jesus. Let me make sure I got to get this right. Hold on. Say that one more time for me. With more emphasis. No, wasn't happening. The Bible was written 2,000 years after everybody was already dead. And from that perspective, you can see where the information came from. A lot of recopied scriptures, texts, cylinder scrolls, papyruses, things that have been discovered from all around the world. And then when there's certain people got their hands on this material, and started sorting through it over many years, figuring out what to keep, what to take away. They realized the power that spirituality and religion had on people. And man, we can configure, we can remix this thing just the right way. We got a hit right here. We got a triple platinum for life. And we can control the masses with this information. So they began to do the remix. Council of Nicaea met. They said, keep this out. Oh, bring this in. Keep that out. No, bring that in. So if you keep this in, but remixes, take that piece out, change this around, and then drop it in there. That's how they made this book, see? And so the book was written over a long period of time. And who were the people that wrote the majority of the copy text that ended up being discovered? The Phoenicians, followers of Thoth, the Atlantean. Yeah, Jehudi, the priest king of ancient Kemet that ruled over the land of Kemet for 14,000 years, according to the ancient Egyptians. So this whole story of this God and this devil that people are running and chasing after has nothing to do with the real creator of the universe and some type of an adversary that may be out there. What it has to do with is beings that were more advanced consciously, spiritually, and technologically that took advantage of our ignorance and pimped us out and have us still to this very day blaming stuff on the devil and praying to God, not knowing they're not praying to any real God. They're praying to a flesh and blood being that isn't God. Does a God exist? In my opinion, yes. I've always said that from the very beginning. But I don't think people know which one they're focusing on when they're thinking. They're focusing their energy towards something that was totally dark and evil, and they don't even know it. The Gnostics knew this. You got to read the Gnostics text, right? Nag Hammadi scripts. When you get into the Gnostics who were living concurrently along with the Christians, they saw this and they peeped it. They realized that the Christians were following and worshiping the same Satan, the devil, that they were running and hiding from. Pretty interesting stuff, man. It's a big story.
I mean, quite interesting, Billy. Quite interesting. Shout out to everybody in the chat. So you brought up the Nag Hammadi, and you're saying Enlil is Yahweh, and you're saying
y'all go watch that though on Black Magic 363. Check that out.
Oh man, so like I understand what he's saying, and my
it's just his perspective. I mean,
yeah, it's his
like it's written in stone. Like you gotta believe it.
I'm just fighting for, like, I just don't understand why. My only thing is that what's the purpose? You know what I mean? It's like, even though you are doing all this
to
and
not be living a fucking lie your whole life.
But then what's the truth?
That's what we trying to find out, the truth. We got to read the non-commodity strips. We got to read all the Emerald tablets. We got to put in the work.
I believe truth is simple. I believe truth is simple. Bro, your mom is your mom. That can't not change. Tell me otherwise.
Where did all black people come from in America?
Nigga, what? Oh my gosh, bro.
All truth ain't the truth. Our truth has been distorted.
But there is still one truth, bro. Otherwise, truth isn't a word.
The truth is whoever won the war. That's what history is.
No, history is history, right? But what I'm saying is,
shouldn't history be the truth? Because it's just a story of what happened in the past. It shouldn't be nobody's own made up story in the past. That's not history. Then that's a lie.
Something had to originate everything, right? Something. Let's just say, forget everything, but something had to originate.
Dark matter, energy, and the universal sound was created off the Om sound.
Okay, so boom. So if you're saying that is the truth, right? Then words can't cut through it. See, I think the moment you can start cutting shit through with words, that just proves that God is real, because it says in the beginning was the word. You can cut through a lot of bullshit through words. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I said, when you're speaking on something, you got to make sure that shit valid. You can't say clone and expect for me to say everything is valid.
I mean, I would think now, we would think people would know, like, you can clone people, like, pretty much.
All right, you know, we're going to do research.
Okay, y'all about to be mad because this is going to take 10 minutes. You already know what the answer is. They've been cloning people for a long time. They've been having a lot of technology, you guys, that they don't tell us about, or that they've been using. Like, they've been having robot people since the early 1900s. Like, look like a full man. It's pictures of it, if you can see it.
Bro, I don't think they is exclusive. Is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that at the end of the day,
And I'm not talking about America. I'm talking about like other countries too.
But they ain't gonna all keep that shit a secret.
Yes, they are.
No, bro. No, ain't no way.
Because they know the same thing we know. They know what power does to man. That's a lot of power to have to be. You know what I'm saying? That's why they don't tell us everything now. You think our government tell us everything? Hell no.
Bro, do you know what water can't? You know what man can't do? Hold water. Meaning that information instantly spreads like fucking wildfire. So the moment I know how to clone somebody, if it don't just stay with me, the moment it goes to one other individual, a million other people are gonna know.
Nah, I disagree with
It's
that.
not gonna stay for years.
Everybody not the same. Some people not like that.
So okay, so he's saying clone back 200,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So we don't have the ability.
Even mainstream scientists would tell you that they know that our DNA was tampered with, but they don't know who done it, and it was 200,000 years ago. I mean,
a lot of good science conversation.
Yeah, because a lot of this stuff could be proven through science and quantum physics, quantum mechanics, theoretical. You know what I'm saying? We can get into it, but appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. We went over, but this is a good episode. It is.
We're gonna do a little bit more research.
Yeah, man. We gotta do some research. Hey, we're gonna do the chat GPT.